I want to make clear that we use AI quite a bit, but I want to also caution that having a full AI setup, you want to make sure that you have a human team involved too. AI is great, but it's also a system, and not everyone's going to trust it. When your ticket is high, like it's like personal injury, for example, it could be $1 million case. Do you really want to trust it fully to AI? To go back, I guess, to something my teachers used to tell me is that you'll never have a calculator in your pocket all the time, right? So you need to learn math. Well, now we have full-blown AI agents in our pockets all the time. And there's just so much possibility there to streamline your business, streamline your personal life, to do it all.
You are listening to Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success.
Hello, everyone, and welcome. You're listening to Sharp Strategies, Sweet Success. I'm your host, Tiffany Swedensky, and today I'm speaking with Mike Margol of James Publishing. So Mike was actually part of my marketing mastermind group about a year ago, and I am familiar with James Publishing. They've been around for quite a long time, and I remember hearing about them and actually referring attorneys to them when I was working at Great Legal Marketing several years back. And so I'm really happy to have him on the show and catch up on what he's doing and what James Publishing is doing. And I'll turn it over to Mike to finish out his introduction.
Salutations, everyone, and big thanks to Tiffany for having me on the podcast today. Excited to be here. James Publishing has been around since 1981, so Tiffany is not BSing you there. We've been around for quite some time, and I think a lot of people are probably familiar with us through our publishing company. So thank you in advance if you've ever bought one of our books. We're very appreciative of that.
Before, I actually didn't know when James Publishing was founded. I had just known you guys have been around for a while. And I was thinking about this before the show, and I'm just curious, but what is it like being at a company? Because obviously you haven't been there since 1981. What is it like being at a company that has such an established presence, has changed so much over the years? What is it like for you?
That's an interesting question. I've actually been here for 20 years. This is my 20-year anniversary. So not since 81, but since '06. So it's been quite some time. I actually started here as an editor of our law books and sort of worked my way up. I'm currently the VP here. Yeah, James Publishing has changed quite a bit. We still have the foundational sort of publishing business that still supports a large majority of what we do. And then many years ago, I can't even remember exactly when, but we did start a marketing agency as well. And we were doing SEO and website building, et cetera, as sort of traditional legal publishing declined, right? Books are just less in demand now than they were. It's still a strong part of our business, but even ebooks are less important because the age of AI is here and everything answer agents, and you can get any answer you want really quickly. So these days we're mostly doing meta ads for our subscribers, heavily using AI for that as well. But yeah, it's been interesting to watch how things change. Once you're in the sphere for so long and you have a reputation, people come to us because they know about James Publishing, they've heard the name. So we get a little bit of pre-selling involved there, or someone will come out of the woodwork. I've been on your email list for 4 years and now I want to work with you. It's sort of an interesting way to think about how to reach the target audience, is that we just bank on our name and continue to try to promote as much as we can and be helpful and educational first.
I only just found out that James Publishing did Facebook ads. I actually didn't know that that was a part of what you guys offered. Can you talk a little bit about that and like what you guys have learned doing those types of ads?
Yeah, absolutely. I think with Meta owning so much of the just online ecosystem, right? You can't really escape Facebook. You can't escape WhatsApp, Instagram. They just own so much of the marketplace that I still think there's plenty of room for the small local attorney to compete with the big giant guys. You don't have to be Morgan and Morgan to compete well on Meta. You just need a small ad spend. You can spin up creative however you want. You can use AI tools to help you launch those sorts of things. And we found that there's a plenty of opportunity there from people who have either missed out on being catered to through normal PPC, but who are always on their phones doing something. Maybe that comes in a little bit later than normal, right? I think a lot of people, when they're using Google, tend to search during the daytime, and that might be an ideal use case for someone who comes in during the day, calls your phone at 12 p.m. But someone on Facebook, someone on Instagram who's scrolling through their phone at 2 a.m., that might be a lead that's very valuable, but there might not be an ecosystem set up to sort of catch that lead and respond in a timely manner. So that's where you start to think about things as speed to lead, who's answering your phone, what type of system do you have involved there. And I want to make clear that we use AI quite a bit, but I want to also caution that having a full AI setup, and despite the, I guess, somewhat negative sentiment that AI has, you want to make sure that you have a human team involved too. AI is great, but it's also a system, and not everyone's going to trust it. When your ticket is high, like it's like personal injury, for example, it could be $1 million case. Do you really want to trust it fully to AI? I think it's important to note too that you have a human team involved, and that's where we've really learned over the past probably year or so that there needs to be a human level of support to whatever system you put in place for meta ads.
The trend of sentiment towards AI, or maybe I guess it's more accurate to say like the differences in AI sentiment when you compare it to what people are talking about on LinkedIn and what you and I as vendors more or less talking to attorneys, what they're looking for, what they want. There's that, and then there's what people are saying online and what people are saying on social media about AI. And I'm trying to remember which company it was. And actually, I think it was just like a small creator. It's somebody I follow on Instagram. And she used one AI image. Like she recently posted like an AI, no, it was a video of herself done up in AI. It was kind of cool. It was like a funny video. And people were in the comments saying, like, I love you, but like, I will boycott businesses that use AI in any part. I don't think that's really that sentiment, the wider public sentiment to AI is really caught up to the legal marketing industry yet.
Yeah, I think it's a delicate topic for sure. I think if it's used wisely, I mean, generative AI in terms of, creating funny videos and that sort of stuff, obviously it's so blatant and in your face. And I think obviously the online sentiment when it's anonymous is always more stringent than it would be otherwise, right? It's going to be vocal. To the normal person, I think an AI chatbot or an AI answering service is fine so long as there is that next step that you're not sort of gatekeep the human element away from it. And I think that does tend to help the sentiment overall is I want to speak to a person. Is there someone available? Well, yeah, of course, there's someone behind it. And that really helps alleviate, I think, some of the overall negative sentiment that can come through. But I also, like you and I discuss with literally all the attorneys we talk to, it's such a valuable tool to have that ignoring it is probably worse, right?
Oh, and you're right. People online are oddly vocal about certain things, and that's probably the place where people are the most vocal in some cases. But I am gun shy, I guess, to use AI video these days or AI images, but I am not to use automations because AI and automations, when done well, it's better than like an email drip sequence. Probably a little bit less annoying, more dynamic. And most people aren't going to recognize it for what it is, even if they think they can. What are your best use cases for AI right now?
Yeah, I think thinking about AI, there's a couple different buckets, right? It's like the acronym RACE, reach for one, acquire, convert, and then expand. So when you think of systems, it's things that can do all those. Obviously, there's a lot of big major players in the legal space, whether it's for CRMs or tools like Harvey, massive, massive platforms that give attorneys so much power. Obviously, there are plenty of tools there, which isn't really, where James Publishing comes in or probably where you come in either. Those tools are already available. But I think we're now reaching the point where attorneys need to be cognizant of talking to their team and knowing what the team needs help with. I talk to a lot of attorneys, and often the conversation is, oh, my team probably needs help, but I'm not exactly sure where. It needs to be a sort of holistic approach to discussing with your team, figuring out what mundane tasks they're doing or even tasks they don't like doing, and then being able to visualize it. Because from here on out, with the new models that are coming out, whether it's GPT 5.5 or Claude Fable or Claude Mythos, being able to think about a problem and then talk through it is going to allow you to build a solution to that problem. No longer will you be constrained by my tool is Harvey, my tool is Clio. You're going to have access to an engine that can build anything you want. So you just have to be able to sit down, visualize, talk to your team members, and create a game plan with the engine, trust the engine to do it, and then launch it. So if you go back to the acronym, maybe it is speed to lead to some extent. Maybe it is what they call AIOS, like an AI operating system that lets you visualize and have a dashboard for every single aspect of your business. But you have to be able to first sit down and think, this is where I need help. And thankfully, the engines are great at, brainstorming with you. So that gives you a really easy entry point.
Just to give people an idea, something that I set up because I'm going on vacation. I'm mentioning that a lot today just because I'm excited about it, apparently. But I'm going to be driving a lot. So I'm going to be in the car and I'm not going to be driving. I'm going to have my husband chauffeur me while I'm in the passenger seat. So I'm going to be on my phone a lot. And I set up an AI kind of automation. And it's like a series of agents, each one with like a specific prompt. And I take a screenshot of an ad or a picture of an ad that I saw that I liked, that I wanted to replicate. And I set up where all I do is send an email to one agent with the image, with a description. And then it kind of goes down this chain of agents and automations until it becomes like a template on my project board that my team can rinse and repeat. If somebody needs ad ideas or we need a reference for something. And so I think like when it comes to implementing AI, like for operations or for marketing, a little bit of creativity goes into it, but also don't be thinking about what can AI do that people can't do. Think about like what AI can do really well, like organization and how it can kind of plug in and enhance your life. I do really like the concept of using an AI agent almost like life operating system. When you think about it, I mean, if you take away data privacy concerns and all of that, that's like really cool just to have agents who you live your life and kind of handle all this extra stuff. It's hard to like sit and dream up those ideas. Sometimes it's born out of necessity, just like me this week.
There's a meme that I'm thinking of. It's a kind of a guy like in a corner at a party and like drinking, and his little thought bubble says, "If only they knew I was running agents in parallel at this time." Like, right, you have this in your phone. You can command all these things that do all these tasks for you all the time, and that sounds like a great use case. That's part of the reach, right, of the race acronym reach. So I think that's great.
I mean, makes it sound a bit obnoxious, but also that's
It can
basically the
be.
idea. Yeah. That's the ideal. I guess what broader trends are you seeing in the digital marketing space? What's really got your attention recently?
I mean, for sure, it's still ads. We've heard a lot about, I think a couple podcasts ago, or maybe it was even the last one, you talked about GEO or like generative engine optimization or AI optimization. We've heard a lot about that. ChatGPT obviously just launched ads. So we're moving into that space. I don't have any data yet on how that works. We're trying it both for James Publishing and for our subscribers. I mean, have you tried that? Do you have any data on that?
I'm going to let other people do that one first, actually. I did talk to a vendor this week who said, like, we're starting up ChatGPT ads. And I was like, well, this particular client's probably interested in that. And step one was setting up the business account. So we're working on that. But that's as far as I've gotten.
I do think it will be a trend. I mean, obviously ads continue to be, paid advertising, you pay to play a lot, or pretty much wherever you are. But yeah, setting up the business account, I will tell you that like their back end dashboard is minimal compared to something like Meta, right, which is a beast, or Google, which is immensely complex. So ChatGPT is starting just from square one, but I do think that's going to be a trend, is moving into that space, finding other avenues outside of Meta, outside of Google, which is hard because Google and Meta own so much of that sphere, but OpenAI and maybe Anthropic someday will be coming for that space too. Other than that, really, automations, I think referrals are still a big part of business that often gets overlooked. Building those connections on a personal level, I think often gets left by the wayside because people are busy working in their business, right, and not on the business. Whereas if you just spent a little bit of time every month reaching out to some potential contacts, maybe having a lunch or two, going speaking at an event, you could build community contacts that would send you business, and then you've sort of set yourself up, right, for sort of recurring business in a way that normally wouldn't happen with ads where it's pay to play all the time. So I think those are some useful trends to think about too.
You and I are pretty aligned. We both have digital technical expertise, but both of us will say the same things because you just said it about referrals, which is they're hugely important and it's a piece that you really can't miss. And I mean, even as something as simple as getting reviews. If you're a law firm who's good at getting reviews, you're probably also good at getting referrals. But just being able to do that, because there's no tool, there's no game, gimmick, strategy. There's only you asking clients, will you please leave us a review on Google? Here's a QR code, here's a link. And without that piece, a lot of what we do for, like, not me specifically, but like what a lot of law firms do for local SEO, it's almost meaningless. So digital marketing is, I don't know, and maybe it's different for you if you have a different point of view here, but it's cool and it's fun. It's almost not as necessary as that like client communication, networking, just being able to connect with people and ask for reviews. I don't know, maybe I'm just overweighting the other
No,
side
no,
of
no.
things.
I think your brand reputation is everything, right? It's like you said, if you drive traffic to a website and you have poor reviews or poor client communication, that's going to come out. If you've got a 3.5 star rating on Google, it doesn't matter how many ads you serve, people are going to go looking for that. I think the human element, like you said, to your point exactly, that digital marketing is interesting to think about. It's a necessity, but the human element involved in person to person is a little bit different and supremely important. AI tools are great, but you can't rely on the digital sphere always. Eventually, someone's going to talk to you, whether it's on Zoom or face to face, or you're going to hand out a business card or speak somewhere. The impression you make from that, not only with your professional contacts, but with your clients as well, is going to be the thing that propels you forward or hinders you.
Well, and I guess not to get us too off track, because I'm very interested in Facebook ads. And coincidentally, I just did a presentation on Facebook ads less than an hour ago. And I always get asked this question: are there any creatives that get you better clients than other creatives? I mean, I can give you my answer, but I'm curious about what you've seen. Are there actually videos, images, styles that get more clients? Is that a thing?
I mean, certainly there are some that perform better, but I think switching out the media is such a big part of it these days. I know some attorneys have run the same media for a long time and continue to have success with that. James Publishing has always put education first. So rather than being overly salesy, we always try to promote this is what's going to happen. Here's the situation. We'd like to help you walk through it, with obviously the attorney being the mouthpiece and not James Publishing. And we think that happens to drive better clients, more educated clients who understand the process and how you can help them through it. There is a converse side though, where we've seen ads that just here's a check on Instagram and this is what I got for my client, and people latch onto that because it's new and exciting too. So I think it goes both ways. I couldn't give you a definitive answer as to what client is better long term and how many are generated from that. I've seen it go both ways. I think probably somewhere in the middle is where we land a lot for most of our clients. Well, what do you think?
Pretty much the same thing. Like there are types of ads that will generate a lot of leads, and those are the types of ads that say like, here's a case evaluation form, I hurt my neck and got $75,000. There are those types of ads, and those types of ads will get you those types of clients. But if you are making something with the law firm, and usually the law firms, sounds like you and I are working with, probably aren't going to make that type of ad anyway. So if they're involved, if they're putting their special touch on it, it's probably going to generate them a better lead than just what most people see on Facebook every day when it comes to those ads.
I think personality is important to your point. What makes you special is something that you should lean on, because that's going to be the thing that differentiates you from the waterfall of the other ads that you see online all the time.
Something I struggle with, and I probably talk about it too much, but it's just how dang difficult it is to get videos out of attorneys. I mean, I could send scripts all day long, and actually these days I'm trying to use ChatGPT less, so it takes me a bit longer to give them something. I just have experience like sending them scripts written by myself, scripts written by ChatGPT, scripts copied. I don't think it's an issue with the scripts, is what I'm saying, but we'll send them something to record and we never get the content.
Right.
Do you like have a way around that? Or are you navigating that?
I 100% agree with you. Attorneys are busy, and the video shoot, and well, first of all, they're busy. Second of all, many don't like being on camera, which is a problem when you're filming video content. For quite some time, we've used a system called HeyGen to basically clone avatars for our attorneys, and they like it because they don't have to be on camera. They approve the scripts that we send, and then we sort of spin it up. These days, HeyGen and systems like Higgsfield or Seed Dance are so advanced that you can take a photo and just create a cloned avatar from that as well. So you don't even need to hop on a system and get footage. You could just spin it up through a photo and then clone the voice via 11 Labs or something like that. And that definitely gets you around that. Although I just saw today that I think New York passed the first law in the country where you'll have to say if there's a synthetic spokesperson on your ads.
I rolled my eyes, but I guess when you're working with small businesses who aren't scamming or spamming, it raises the bar in a good way. I guess I'll say that. But also, of course, New York passes that first. There's actually quite a lot of rules and regulations coming out regarding Facebook ads, because didn't Colorado and California basically said no more lead gen companies?
Yeah, it's trying to stay on top as they catch up to AI, right? As the bureaucracy and the government catches up to it, I think we're going to see more and more of that. I know in Texas, outreach from any sort of automated system like text system is really, really tight. So we actually moved away from text messaging at all in Texas just because of that. And that's going to make it hard for us, you and me, and then our small law firms, right, who we just want to wade in and navigate those waters. And it's going to be really murky. Like you said, it's good. It's great that we're moving towards a more, I don't know, legal. I don't even have the right word for it, but it's going to make it more difficult across the board to know what's you can do, what you can't do. This state's different than that state. It's just going to create some very murky waters, I think.
So I wanted to ask about the SMS thing. You cut out SMS and texts, but what about Facebook Messenger? Can you like do automated outreach via Facebook Messenger, or is that cut off too? Are they policing that platform?
I actually do not know. We use a system that obviously, like many platforms do, whether it's Clio or Lawmatics or whatever, but it sends text messages automatically. And especially if there's not a good way for people to opt into that, then Texas becomes very iffy. Now, Facebook, I know they just launched their AI agents for business. So the agent can reach out and basically acts like the Go High Level system, right? Where it would interact with you in a real way. And it's not like some sort of cookie cutter, not to make a pun about Sharp Cookie, but cookie cutter placement. It acts like a real agent. So I don't know if honestly, if Facebook agents would fall under that. I'm not entirely sure, actually.
Well, I'm thinking about all of the influencers who make money on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, and they all utilize, and I mean, it's an automated system and it's been existed before like AI agents proper, right? But comment lemon to get my diet plan or something like that. And
Right.
then when you leave the comment, that like an automated system sends
Yeah.
a direct message, yada yada yada. And so maybe these rules only apply to legal marketing, but like something like that is a message from an automated system.
I feel like it's mostly with text messages. I feel like that's where the FCC, that's their big thing, right? It's automated scams for text messaging, et cetera. I don't really think it will apply in the same way to what you're referencing, and which is a good thing
Okay.
because
Yeah.
that's where speed to lead really comes in.
Yeah. And I mean, text messages are a huge part of like the follow up we're trying to do with our clients, you know,
Yeah.
everywhere else. And I mean, it's annoying. Like, I get more, I guess, I don't know what you call them, but those like weird text messages that'll just like say my name question mark, but without any other context. Like, and it's
You
spam.
forgot this at the party last week. I'm like, what party? What is this?
Yeah.
What?
That's all like that's like the first it is kind of like phishing, although not that kind of phishing, like to try to get somebody to respond. That's annoying. To go back to what you were saying, I was in a conversation on LinkedIn the other day and talking about these regulations for lead generation companies in Colorado and California. And I'm happy to see those kind of regulations because it gives law firms more room on the platforms to advertise themselves, probably making ads that are better and represent the profession a little bit better. But also, like, knowing what I know about lead generation companies, somebody asked me to look into a company and I looked into it, and they're a company that's their parent company operates out of Saudi Arabia. And the privacy policy on the landing page that customers see names this company in Saudi Arabia and gives their address. And you could probably expect every client that comes through that landing page is sharing their data to somebody outside of the US. I let the law firm know, and I was like, this is probably a no. But that thing happens way more often than we think. It's scary. And like, I really do feel regulations need to catch up with what's we're able to do with this technology. Because I mean, I'm actually kind of happy to see all of this kind of come together, I guess, a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think your personal data is really important, but I don't have a good handle on where my data is. And like you and I are extremely tech savvy, right? Where is it? I don't know. I think it is good that regulations come into play because it is the Wild West, not to use like a super old, that's what they say sort of a thing. But yes, it really is. And the government's always going to move a little slower than AI, especially right now. Things are moving very, very fast. We'll just put it that way. And we'll see where the next few years take us. I don't really know where we're going to go.
All these damn data centers, too. That's all I'm sick to death of hearing about data centers.
That's where our
Um,
data is in data.
Okay. We're coming up close to the end of the show. So, as is tradition, what is something that you wanted to talk about that we didn't have a chance to get into yet?
And I think we talked about most of it. I would just encourage everyone at law firms, whether you're the attorney or whether you might be the marketing director or CMO, CFO, whatever, to just start investigating these tools if you haven't already, whether that's Claude or OpenAI or Gemini or even Copilot if you're a Microsoft person, which I know there's some of you out there. But take a look at it, start investigating it. You're only missing out on having to go back, I guess, to something my teachers used to tell me is that you'll never have a calculator in your pocket all the time, right? So you need to learn math. Well, now we have full-blown AI agents in our pockets all the time. And there's just so much possibility there to streamline your business, to your point, streamline your personal life, to do it all. And they're so cost effective and they can really amplify your team, your business. Sky's the limit. So I would just recommend everyone check it out and start thinking that way if you can.
Where do you want people to look you up, learn more about you?
You can check us out at jamespublishing.com. And if you want to learn more about our marketing services, jamesamplifier.com. And you can look me up on LinkedIn if you want to connect there at Mike Margol. And that's pretty much my story.
I'm actually really blown away. I didn't know that you guys did Facebook ads. I just really don't know many agencies that do Facebook ads. I do them casually for my clients, like if I'm already working with them. Even then, I have a person who's dedicated to that part of it. It's not not like an easy thing. But I'm glad to note that you guys handle that, and I'll start sending people your way.
Definitely, it's our core marketing business at the moment is Meta ads for sure. So let us know. We're here to help.
And it's definitely an underutilized marketing channel. Like I said earlier, I did a whole presentation on that earlier, and attorneys need to be getting on Meta ads, period. Well, thanks everyone so much for listening. Thanks, Mike, for joining us, and we'll talk to everyone next time.